itself. It's not about the game itself. It's about like the bad actors who are saying stuff like, "Oh, why can't we create our own character?" But like
Oh
they don't
yeah,
like.
yeah. John and I were just
I put
talking
up
about
with
this.
I put up with Cal Cestus for the last 2 years, so screw you.
Yeah, it's John and I were just talking about this. Like, they are like. It's funny how they find ways to
I can't have Gal Cestus, so screw you.
like. They find ways to wrap their "why is it a woman" criticism, uh, so that people can't call them on it, right? And it's like the thing they were saying was, "Oh, I just wish that I could pick the character." And it's like, no, you wish you could pick a male character. You don't want to play a female character. That's your problem with it.
And then when you bring it up about like Jedi, like the Jedi Fallen Order game, it's like, well, what it's like, well, like
Yeah,
what are you
yeah. You,
mad
you
that
weren't too pissed that you couldn't, choose your own character in that game. I wonder what the difference was.
we're like in
Though
The
I did,
Witcher
though,
3?
though I did see some good joke posts about that, saying they wanted to play. He couldn't possibly be a Jedi because he had no soul.
Oh, because
Because
he's
he's
a ginger. Sorry, April.
oh, you have red hair, April?
Yes.
Oh, I
I think I've I
sorry.
think I've harassed her a few times about it. Even I'm
Well,
so
we did
sorry.
Palpatine. You harassed me about it.
Uh, Speaking, sorry, I was sharing our stream in a couple spots. This is, by the way, guys, our 22nd episode of Gungans and Dragons,
Nice.
which is pretty cool. It's one of those things that I'm surprised I've committed to this long, because I don't think I've committed to 22 of anything in my entire life. But so before we get, I'm not sure what Sean has planned for us today, but I'm gonna have to ask a series of questions to make sure that I understand everything that's happening. But before we kind of go on to, because I think at some point we're going to Coruscant, I think, today. Because
Presumably, unless we're defying the Jedi Council.
yeah, well let me. So first of all, this is our weekly Star Wars RPG called Gungans and Dragons, which is it's an informal meetup of friends, and we pretend to be characters that we're not. And there are Jedi and non-Jedi and pilots and spies, and there's a Hutt Jedi, and it's all a really good time. And so like 22 episodes is pretty neat, and it's been, I should note, on a more personal level, my first ever like venture into tabletop role playing games. So it's been a lot of fun because I'll tell you that my opinion about this kind of operation was much different going in than it is now, and I think I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would.
Nice.
So we let's introduce our characters real quick. I'll start with myself. I'll just go down the line on our whatever the order is in our Discord chat, and that's where we're going. And Sean, I'm going to make you. We're going to get to you, and you're going to You're going to introduce yourself as the Gungan Master. So prepare yourself.
Okay.
I'll start with mine. I play Kel, who is a Jedi of the Chiss race, who likes to solve puzzles and apparently, uh, d- d- with the last couple of episodes, has become morally ambiguous. And who is April?
I play Brya. She's a former thief and bounty hunter.
Chris?
Play Chance, who is a pilot who gets increasingly disturbed by the Force every time he sees it in action.
I like how we've tightened these down to like one sentence. Also, I don't know why, but every time I say your name, every time I have an interaction with your character, I'm not sure if you ever saw. There's an old movie from our childhood called Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
Music, by the way, by the brilliant Bruce Broughton.
Those
And
movies.
what was that?
I love those movies.
Yes, yeah, they're very good. It's the same guy that did the music for like Rescuers Down Under. There are three characters. There's a golden retriever, like a pit bull and a cat, and the pit bull's name is Chance. And there's a spot in that movie where he gets really curious about a porcupine, and gets like a porcupine like sticks the fuck out of his face, and he's got quills, like porcupine quills, coming out of his face, and that's all I can think of sometimes every time Chance has a moment to say anything.
Well, you're welcome.
Yes. Richard.
I play Drolba, a Hutt Jedi that has been spending a lot more time worrying about morality and lives these days than working out, which is quite concerning.
He's getting tubby.
Your abs.
No, he's not. He's maintaining his macros. Damn it.
I mean, I get lots of macros. I just don't. I eat a lot of things. I just don't do anything. I think you can maintain your macros and still get your. You could also be stress eating like Genko.
I think Drolba, instead of stress eating, just does stress lifting.
I was about to say, if you're that worried about morality, maybe you should just check out nihilism. It might make you happier.
Oh Jesus.
Sean,
Yes.
tell us what you do.
Well, I'm the Gungan Master, and I do everything else.
Nice and vague, love it.
Yep.
Genko, or sorry, Monty.
Yes, that's my name. Eating's my game. Done.
Out.
Fair enough.
Mic drop. All right. So, if I remember correctly, as a quick recap, we had we're doing a bounty for Jabba the Hutt, and as a sidebar, Jabba contacted my character Kel and offered to give me a lot of drugs if I were to kill the target, who is the leader of a freedom fighting movement, like an anti-slavery freedom fighting movement, who is led by Genko's adopted daughter, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, last episode, we went to go find them, and your adoptive daughter, Stefishini, is in this base with was it like 100 other people?
More like a dozen or so, maybe 2 dozen.
Okay, so that has changed quite a bit from. Okay, so we'll say 12 people. The reason I'm asking is because I know we're planning to do something pretty big, and I'm trying to think in my mind of how many of us there are because there are like the 6 of us, right? Or the 5 of us?
Yes. Yep. So there's like the 5 of you.
The 6 of us, yeah.
Yeah. And then because I remember last time someone had asked about well, what if the people here aren't like trustworthy, but like she's kind of like surrounded herself with people like she can trust.
Yeah.
And there's about like 2 dozen, maybe like 30 tops in this.
Okay, so we're saying like 20, 25 to 30.
She's surrounded herself with zealots who aren't tempted by billions in credits.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they're like real freedom fighters. They're doing it for the idealism. Okay.
She's surrounded. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say she surrounded herself with a bunch of Cassian Andors.
Yeah, which I mean that's pretty great for us, honestly. Okay, if I remember, at the end of last episode, when faced with the what do we do about Jabba the Hutt, somehow the conversation went to a point where we all just randomly agreed, let's fucking kill him. Am I wrong about that?
Just Jabba. We were going to be taking out basically, since it wasn't just Jabba who offered this bounty, it was basically the top brass of all of these organizations that remained was offering this bounty, because basically all of these heads got wiped out by Stefishini's forces. So basically Drolba put forward what he said is basically a suicide plan that, yes, everyone has seemingly agreed to.
We seem pretty stoked about it.
Not
I don't
really.
know about stoked.
Kel's
he
delighted.
like,
This is the most fun
well,
Kel's had in a while.
but basically the plan is bringing all of these heads and people who want Stefani dead into one place to get the bounty / make an example of her, and basically for it to be a brawl.
Well,
We take
like a coordinated attack,
we
right?
take them. We take them out. Drolba's already gotten assurances from the minor players to basically be on our side, and he's got one major player who says that they would be on our side, but they want Stefani as payment. So basically, he says, "Well, we can say yes to the major player, but then basically stiff her." So to keep her out of the fight at least initially.
Okay, so the major player is the Jedi, right?
Well, and then we contacted the Jedi Council and Kronsok, my master, about the plan and about
And
getting
he's
more
in,
of a Jedi
right?
to get. Oh yeah, he probably will be in. He's part of the council as well, but basically to get Jedi involvement before war breaks out in the Outer Rim because of all of this.
Okay, so we have 25 to 30 troops with Stefani, right? And
Yes. Yep.
also on our way to talk to her, we very heartlessly left a stranded Padawan on a different planet who was murdered because of our inaction.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a vote, and the vote basically we continued on to Stefani, and we the Jedi Council had offered to send a strike team that would have arrived a little bit later than us.
Okay.
And apparently that was too late.
Yeah. Okay. So now.
But for the purpose of this session, we were given an option to go there. The council did not order us to go there.
But
Because
we're
they even asked.
but-
They asked we need to send a strike team. Or are you guys going there? And we ended up taking the strike team option.
okay. So
So I'm just saying, like, if the council goes to yell at us right now for today's session, we have a little bit of ammo in the fact of, well, you gave us an option.
yeah.
And we are dealing with this on our tenuous situation in the Outer Rim.
Okay. So we are trying to shore up our resources though for this attack.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, I guess the first question is: would Chance or Brya or Genko have any trouble going to sightsee on Coruscant for a bit while we go to talk to the Jedi?
Not at all. In
I feel
fact,
like I should go talk to the Jedi also.
that's fine. You go ahead. Chance will be as far away from the Jedi Temple as possible.
Genko, I can temporarily make you my Padawan so you can come into the meeting with us.
I mean, I still have that training lightsaber
Yeah.
that I use as a paperweight.
They're gonna be
Let me
mad
go
about
get that.
like they're gonna be mad about it, and they're gonna tell me it's against the code, and they'll probably want to test you for the Force, but we won't make a thing out of it.
And
Well, I am a great actor. I have been lying about being a bounty hunter to all of you for
And
this
about
entire time,
having a
so.
daughter. Yeah, we were
And yeah,
so surprised.
not having a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll walk in. We'll walk in. I'll introduce you as my Padawan. They'll give us the raised eyebrow, and then we just won't say anything. Okay, good.
It'll be a Pad win.
Yes, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with this plan. Chance, are you sure you don't want to go to the Jedi Temple?
I am very sure.
They do have very cool
it-
ships.
If you guys
Yes,
want-
yes, but they also have a whole bunch of Force users, and Chance does not vibe with that.
If
If you guys want to go shopping while we're out, like, Coruscant is a great opportunity for that.
if it puts your heart at rest, not all of them are like me. Some of them are pretty cool guys.
Nope, doesn't do anything.
Okay, so what was the before my questions are satisfied? There was something about an underworld trip as well.
I thought you said you had contacts on.
Well,
Coruscant.
Kel does. Yeah, well, Kel has a lot of contacts in the underworld on Coruscant, actually. So if we're looking for a like if we're looking for additional fighters with enough money / drugs.
But also, you don't potentially want them to hear that you have plans of this sort and betray you potentially.
Yeah, there are a couple
Good.
guys I trust that are good with guns.
Billions of credits trust? Because if they turn you over with Stefficiony, they could get a lot of credits.
Let me put it this way: I trust them more than I trust most of the Jedi. So I guess more than in billions. So how do we do this then? I guess we fly by Coruscant, Chance drops us off and like immediately flies away before the Jedi can get their claws in him.
I mean, depending on how many of us are going, we could just take my Jedi fighter, and Chance could always take his ship to someplace else if we want to split up to get more stuff done at the same time.
Like, I'm cool with dropping you off. I just don't want to stay there, is all.
So what I'm hearing here is the goal is to split the party.
I think either way that's
GM
got to happen.
rubs his hands together with malicious intent.
Right.
With the Jedi.
I tried real hard to get Chance to come to the temple, but I think he.
I like it. It's cool.
I just don't think I don't think it's in it. I don't think he has it in him to go.
I like how like Chance's characters like evolved from kind of like, cause like before like you're kind of like apathetic about the Jedi, right?
Yeah, more or less.
And then like you're just like almost like anti-Jedi.
He's like
Anti-Jedi, just a little bit paranoid.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
like. Do you guys remember that Force Awakens trailer that really blew everyone's mind? It was like the first real trailer, not like the 30-second teaser trailer, but there was like a full length trailer, and it had a part of that scene on the Falcon with Han and Rey and Finn. And it's that bit where Han Solo is talking about how he thought the Force was a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and like, and it turns out that the dark side and all of it, like, it's real, and like there's like that dramatic turn, and he's got this look on his face like, I've seen so much shit with the Force that I cannot believe I didn't believe in it before. I feel like that's kind of Chance right now.
So I gotcha.
It's true, all of it. Also, what does my character have?
Unfortunately.
Or
Say-
strain? Why does my character have strain right now?
I think from the fight.
How do I get rid of that?
You just rest essentially.
Am I resting now?
Yeah, well, I'll say either now or probably like on the way to Coruscant.
I'll take a
You'll
little nap.
rest.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'll put that to 0 then. Okay, cool. Well, Chance, if you wouldn't mind, here's the address to the Jedi Temple. This is the clearance code you'll need. Just tell them you have Jedi aboard. They should let you.
All right.
They should let you on.
I lay in a course for the Jedi Temple and phone ahead to tell them we're coming.
Briya, are you gonna hang out with Chance, or do you also want to check out the Jedi Temple and see what it's all about?
I would probably go with Chance. He needs a guide.
Okay.
This is true, by the way. Like, Chance spent most of his life living on a ship. He's like, planets are not really his thing.
That's why it smells like this.
All right, so you're all gonna you all pilot
Blue
the Chance
hyperspace. That's our. I meant that as a visual.
Oh, gotcha. So you're all gonna pilot Chance's ship then, like all 30 people?
Wait, say
I'm
that again?
calling the Jedi Temple. What do you...
Oh, I said you're all gonna pilot Chance's ship, like everyone in this base.
I mean,
No.
we could. They could. I guess they could go in the cargo hold if necessary.
Oh yeah, we
but-
kind of talked about this the last time though, right? Because we.
Yeah, because you're going to take Stephanie to the temple too, right? To like kind of protect her.
And also to make sure she doesn't run off at this point.
Oh,
Yeah.
this might have been a question I needed to ask. What was Stephani's opinion on turning herself into the Jedi?
Oh no, she said no. She said no to that.
That's
Okay,
right. That's right.
so we might.
She was solidly against that, but I think she actually kind of liked our suicide plan.
Okay, so should we? I guess Stephanie.
So here you go. Here's my plan. You folks go off to the Jedi Temple and do your Jedi business. Me, Briya, Stephanie, and the rest of Stephanie's friends go find the nearest space Chuck E. Cheese and have a pizza party.
That's great. When the Jedi ask us where Stephanie is, we'll be like, I don't know.
You don't fucking know.
I think
she was
she's
still on the ship when you got off. You don't know where she is.
I think they said they're going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Space Chuck E. Cheese.
You might want to start there. You can look there.
It's a chain. There's like 80 locations
Yeah.
in Coruscant.
You got to go to the one in that one district in episode 2 where they chase the bounty hunter. Yeah, like
yeah, the guy with the death stick.
yeah, it's like the Chuck E. Cheese with like most of the letters, the lights don't work on them anymore, and like one of the letters is like swinging free. Like the ball pit has a bunch of shit in it.
It's
I mean, that's not
exactly
even
there.
underground. Gets
Going
far
to
worse than
Daxter
that.
Jackster's mac and cheese house.
Uh,
Everyone remembers Daxter Jackster?
Are you talking about Dexter Jester?
Yes.
Oh.
But no. It's his brother because it's years and years before. It's legally distinct.
Oh,
Actually, how long do they live? Actually,
those guys? Well, it's the same. It's the same species as Ponkrell, right?
yes. Yep.
We don't know how long he lives either, other than not
Oh,
very long.
What am I doing here? Oh no. Wait. Oh. Sorry, I lost roll 20 for a second. I didn't know where. Hold on a second. Now I'm kind of curious about this.
Okay, so they're called the Basilisk. I think it's meant to be Basilisk. I think maybe.
Well, no, it's probably what they want it to sound like. Also, no one should ever use Microsoft Bing because it's terrible. 70 years.
Okay.
70 years is their lifespan. So
Gotcha.
he's probably not around. He's not born yet.
Grandfather's around.
I imagine that probably would be like a family chain. Like it's been in the like that restaurant has been in the family for quite a while. Anyway, you guys go check it out and tell if it's there and if it's any good.
Will do.
So we're on our way to Coruscant?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on your way to Coruscant. And on the way there, you kind of like, you rest, you all heal up, no wounds, no strain.
Nice little nap.
Yep. But yeah, so you get to Coruscant, you dock at the Jedi Temple. And then whoever wants to get off the Jedi Temple is free to get off the Jedi Temple.
I step off. I happen to notice that even parked Chance looks a little nervous.
Just maybe a single bead of sweat on his brow.
You're tapping your foot very anxiously.
You still remember that brief period where you were the most powerful Sith Lord in the galaxy?
Like the temple's right there. You guys getting off? You
Yeah,
gonna
yep.
go in?
I slither.
Come on,
into
Ganko.
the-
My Padawan. By the way, Ganko, have you been
Turn it off and on.
have you been tested for midichlorians? Do you have any like force sensitivity?
Oh yeah. I've got metachlorians and diabetes. I'm on this special medication, so I'm good.
We should maybe I'll grab one of those scanners while we're here. We'll do a little blood test and see if you have any midichlorians.
You scan him and it says he has negative midichlorians.
Yeah. He's in fact taking
and
my
like,
midichlorians.
I'm a
And
null
you're like, how is this
for
even
the
possible?
force.
Just being around him makes you less force sensitive.
Yeah, let's take him straight into the Jedi Temple.
Oh my God,
This won't be a problem.
He could be like what they had in Legends. What were they called? The Yasilamari?
Usalamari.
That
The yeah
Yasilamari.
yeah
That had the anti-force field around it.
yeah, and in fact the protection zone uh, multiplied exponentially if they were linked together, and I imagine that Genko's anti-force bubble would probably exponentially multiply the more he ate.
I love how Thrawn like utilized them so much in Legends just because he didn't want to have
Yeah.
to deal with the bullshit. Of
Well, he just
Jedi.
carries one on his back. He puts one in a tube and puts it on his back, and he's like, "You're my pet now."
And on his ships, he actually had them like linked into the hull, like on the inside.
By the
like,
way, in the Tales of the Empire trailer, Thrawn is looking real fucking sharp. It's like a younger Thrawn, and
Good.
yeah, and it's cool that we'll get to see the whole like Thrawn Morgan Elsbeth thing and how like they got to know each other. But there are characters in the new canon that they introduced through the comics and the books that would be significant to Thrawn in this time period because of how the Empire discovered him. He more or less has a guide that follows him around to help, like his assistant that the Empire or the Emperor gave him. Pretty sure we'll be seeing that guy too. Anyway, let's go to the Jedi Temple.
Sorry.
From my helmet comms, I'm gonna message Kronsok and ask him what's going on with the council calling us back here.
Oh, so he would tell you that that the reason you're being called back, like right now, is because for the burial of the master and the Padawan that were killed.
Okay.
Or, not really burial, but kind of like the burning, I guess.
Yeah, they do have a ceremony. The Jedi do have a ceremony for this kind of thing.
Because I remember at the end of last session, they also said we were being called here as well to talk about the situation on the Outer Rim.
Yes, you're being called back for both.
Okay.
It's going to be like the burial first, and then like the kind of like meeting the council later.
Okay.
So we're starting the party out for the funeral, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yep. So the three of you leave. You disembark the ship, and then Chance, you just immediately take off. Then after they leave.
Yep, we're going to Space Chuck E. Cheese.
See you later, Jedi.
So you just like immediately kind of like after they leave, you just immediately kind of like power up the engines, raise like the docking ramp and just like raise the landing gear. You see like a droid kind of like on wheels comes out. He's like, "Hey, wait, I gotta validate your parking," he says.
The Jedi already told us we could park here. What do you need to talk to me for?
Oh no, I don't think you can hear him because like he's
Yeah, you're
like,
in your cockpit.
Yeah.
Let's not lie though. Chance would be the kind of guy to yell at someone through the cockpit window.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's space road rage.
Shake your fist at him, Chance.
Can't. Both hands are on the controls because I'm responsible.
Is it 10 and 2?
Always.
Good. Also, the Jedi is practically the Catholic Church. Like they've got plenty of money and they don't need to validate the parking. Like they're not going to miss the money from that.
No, I know. But yeah, you are greeted by a couple of the council members. One of them is actually Yoda. He doesn't have his cane right now because he is about 300 years younger.
A little bit younger.
Yeah.
It's nice that we know where he is. By the way, in the High Republic, Yoda was known to just disappear, even though he was a Grand Master, would just disappear for months on end with students, and no one would know where they went.
Ad inappropriate.
Like there was there was an attack on a Republic fair, and like there were a couple of people like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if Master Yoda was here?" And the other Jedi was like, "No one knows where he is," and he never showed up. He just too busy teaching, I guess.
But yeah, you see Yoda and a couple other Jedi. One is a woman. She's around like probably like 7 feet tall or so.
Damn.
She's one of the basilisk species, and then the other was a Rhodian, who's about like probably like maybe 5 feet tall.
Little dude.
Yeah, and then Yoda, of course, who's like about like what 2 feet tall, if that.
He's isn't he like 2 meters?
I think so. Yeah.
Not that it matters. I mean, we are that kind of Star Wars fan because now that you've mentioned it, I kind of needed to know.
Is he shorter than Bilbo Baggins or tall? No,
He's 2'2".
I think hobbits are like 3 foot, maybe at the most, if not a bit shorter.
He's a little dude.
But yeah, so he's kind of like standing in front of the other two, kind of like showing his kind of like seniority within the council. But yeah, he greets the both of you. He greets like the three of you. And he asks who like the new face is, pointing to Genko.
This is my Padawan Genko.
And he's just kind of like, oh, you took a Padawan, huh?
Yes.
Without us knowing.
Yes, I did. I would also remind the members of this esteemed council that I am a way seeker and am not required to ask if I can take a Padawan.
But yeah, Yoda says, "No, this I do." He says.
Mm-hmm. Also, what's up, Yoda?
He says he just kind of like just smiles.
He's so tired of my shit by now.
Is Kronzok there as well?
He is not. You can probably guess he's probably at the funeral right now, or like at like the presiding of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so Yoda says, or Yoda kind of like gestures, like with a hand this way.
I'll follow.
So I give Genko a little nudge and show him how to walk like a Jedi because I would really like to keep this going as long as we can.
I take notice and I try to imitate as best as I can, but I never really had like a proper loop for my lightsaber, so I don't know where to put it. So I just keep alternating pockets or holding it or like balancing it on my head.
Oh, do you have a lightsaber on you?
It's a training lightsaber.
I have it's a training lightsaber.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Where did we got it somewhere? I can't.
I gave it to him, I think.
Yeah, you have no idea how to use it, right? Like you. I wonder what the stats
because
would
he
be.
asked like to play with a lightsaber, so I basically gave him the safest lightsaber I could think of, which was a training saber. Worst he could do was stun himself, not chop off his own limbs.
Can we, while we're on the way, would it be possible for us to stop by and see the Jedi Quartermaster and get Genko some new threads?
Are you asking Yoda that?
Yes.
He says. Yoda says. Stop by if you must, but he says, but make your way, make the council chamber when able.
So hurry your ass up. You mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
All
Not the council chamber, to the funeral chamber.
Okay, so Genko, let's go. Just get you a Jedi belt, because they'll have the hook on them for the lightsaber. Unless you want like a whole like get up, like robes and everything.
No, a belt's good enough. This thing's getting really heavy.
Perfect. All right. So can we say that the quartermaster's on the way to where we're going?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, on the way there, the three of you stop at the quartermaster. You see it's a human. He has kind of like an eye patch over his left eye. He has like kind of like a ponytail in his hair with like a beard.
Damn.
He says, Kel. He says, Drillbo, what can I do the two of you for?
I just need one standard issue belt with a lightsaber hook.
He says, need a replacement for your old one, he says?
It's for my new Padawan. This is Genko.
He says, it's a pleasure. He reaches out his hand to like shake it.
I reach out my hand and I hand him the lightsaber and I go, here for the customization.
He says, oh, okay. What do you want done with it?
I'm looking to wear it across the center of my chest.
Oh, the lightsaber. He says.
Yeah, isn't that how Jedi normally wear it?
He says, I mean, typically we wear it like he shows kind of like on like his belt, but he says, I mean, Jedi are allowed to kind of like wear their lightsabers how they want. So if you want like a chest lightsaber, that's fine. He says.
One of those.
Genko is a savant in the Force, so please do what he asks.
Savant is one word for it.
Oh, he is he? Can you show me some of your Force abilities? He asks.
The last time someone asked for a demonstration, he terrified them, and we were very late for a meeting with the council.
Yes, you wouldn't believe how talented with the Force he is.
Yeah, it is unbelievable.
He says, well, maybe a rain check then. He says.
Maybe on our way back.
So he hands you like a couple of belts that like he kind of like if you can kind of like imagine kind of like it's like an anime character with like all the belts that they have, he kind of like hands you two belts, that are kind of like welds together in the middle. And he puts like a what's the
Bandolier.
yeah, but like what's like maybe like a lightsaber clip or whatever it's called, the thing that it hangs on.
Yeah, I think you just call
I think
it a clip.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's in the middle. But yeah, it's like a bandolier though. Yeah, and like the clips in the middle. But like the belt also has like things like but like and like a bandolier has like different like holding like different pockets on it and everything.
I went to Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World, and they actually sell the lightsaber clips for the lightsabers that they sell there, so you could actually wear it on the belt.
Nice.
Just snap it in real easy.
I've always been really disappointed. So I get a free trip to Disney every 4 years. Because of COVID, we didn't end up going the last time. But they have really strict restrictions in Galaxy's Edge, and I checked. You cannot wear like a full Jedi getup. You're not allowed to wear like a costume.
Like,
no, they don't want people confusing you with someone who works there.
Right. Yeah.
Though they can be quite lenient depending upon how you do it. Like I post those. I posted those pictures of when I got engaged there, and I had some people thinking that I worked there because of how I was dressed, but they let me wear it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just like right not a staff member, just like on a tag somewhere or something.
Well, they probably also don't want people able to convince children that they work there either. I think that would probably be one of their
probably
yeah. Because it would be really easy to be like, oh hey, I'm a Jedi, and because kids are dumbasses, like they'll believe anything.
I'm sorry, I just the way
can you tell I'm a teacher?
Yes, I can.
Chris is a teacher. He'll back me up on this.
Yeah.
Kids are dumbasses.
Oh God, no.
Chris teaches the cello.
Oh, nice, cool.
I don't know. Your students are generally younger students, right? Because you teach at C4A, right?
Yeah, I got a bunch of like middle schoolers, like a grade schooler.
Middle schoolers suck, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we've established children are terrible.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, so he gives you that bandolier belt. It's fitted it's fitted for your size. He also says, so I noticed you're not wearing a Jedi robe, he says. And he hands you like a Jedi robe for you, Genko.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, you're a Padawan too. And he looks at you, Cal, and he says, do you want the braid? He says.
I mean, he doesn't have hair.
Well, okay, so a couple of things first of all, the Padawans without hair would wear beads of various lengths, and also something interesting I learned reading the High Republic books is that practice was actually optional in the High Republic. That depending on whose master you had, like if you were a Padawan, your master chose whether or not to observe the Padawan braid tradition. So some Padawans had them, and some of them didn't. And the ones that did usually had masters that were more like traditional Jedi.
Cal is less traditional. Instead,
I'll let you, Genko. I'll let you choose. You're a grown man.
I ask for the beads.
Yeah, he hands you some beads. It's like they're like kind of like metal, but they're decorative, and
Nice.
he shows you kind of like how to like put it on, I guess.
I say thank you and I put it into my pocket, and then under my breath I go, "This will make a lovely bracelet for my daughter."
You use the D word as a Jedi. Your daughter.
Oh yeah, don't let anyone know that you have kids. Did he say that? Did he say that out loud in front of the quartermaster?
Well, like, under my breath, but
Oh, okay.
you know how old people are when they say things under their breath.
Yeah,
as the quartermaster preferred.
As I walk away, I look at the quartermaster and say he's a savant, and I don't know what to say.
No, I mean, you said it under your breath. I'm not gonna make you roll for it.
Good, because I'll fight him. He's got a fucking eye patch. Like, what could he possibly do? He's got no death perception.
You'll make him have to use another eye patch.
Yeah, you'll have just one large eye patch over both eyes.
He'll be like a cyclops.
Yeah, he's essentially a what do you call him at that point?
A pirate?
No, there's a race with no eyes.
Oh, it starts with an M. You're talking about the guys from
Marilucan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
That's it's also we were talking during the live show about how the KOTOR remake is apparently back on after being off for a while. Because I think
it was ever like formally off. It was just like the studio closed, and then it got sent around to another studio or 3.
And I think wasn't it KOTOR 2 that introduced that species?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I thought it was like I was like, that's kind of a cool idea.
It might have been Dark Forces 2, I think.
Huh. I think that's the first time I ever knew about them, is when I played that game.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, they're all blind? That sucks. I also think you could play as that species in the Old Republic, the online.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you can. Yeah.
By the way, that's something we should do at some point, because that game is still raging, and it's something I'm
down.
Yeah, let's organize it, because that's something we could also kind of do together that isn't Battlefront, and it's a game that will run on like older computers too, I think.
Plus, it could be like really fun if like a couple, like, because like if we do like dark side or light side, like a couple of us are like, because I know like it's like when you're in like like when you're in the choices, like it's kind of like, I think like either democratically, or it's like like sometimes it's just like whoever chooses, just like we want to take the good option, and like someone just is like, nope, we're doing the bad option.
I think what it does in some of those, like if it's your story, then your choice carries. But if you're in a party, like everyone picks, and then it just rolls like 100-sided die for everybody, and whoever is the highest wins.
That makes sense. I think you're right. Yeah.
I think I have a Chiss Jedi in that game too, actually.
I wonder if I could recover my account from there, because I played it right in the beginning.
I'm sure you can.
I got the what is it? The special collector's edition.
I recovered my account like twice, so.
Yeah, we'll look at it. Maybe I'll put something in our Discord. Which, by the way, if you're watching, you can join us on Discord. The link's in the description.
But yeah, so now you all making your way to the funeral?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So you make your way to kind of like the funeral like procession chamber. It's kind of like similar to what it was in like Clone Wars when you saw Obi-Wan's fake character get cremated. But yeah, you see like the two Jedi. You see like the woman and the Padawan. They're like in they're in two separate kind of like caskets,
Mm-hmm.
but like they're kind of like but they're like next to each other, if that makes sense. Um, and you see Yoda, he's kind of like presiding over it. You see Crown Sock's there as well. Jabba.
Okay. I greet him solemnly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He greets you back. Um, and then yeah, Yoda kind of starts to talk. He's essentially kind of like listing off their accomplishments. How like it hurt the order that the two of them were are deprived of them now, stuff like that. Um, and yeah, but eventually, like the two castles close, they get lowered on the ground, and like you see like the incinerator kind of like start up, and yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just seeing if I wanted to do anything. Um,
Yeah, Kel
Is
remains. Uh, he just contemplates.
is there any sort of like acknowledgement a Jedi can make in this circumstance, or is it just quiet contemplation?
I I mean you can do either or. If you want to say something or not.
No, just I'll quietly just contemplate as this happens. I'll feel bad that we weren't able to save him, but yeah. Besides that,
Gotcha. And then probably like after like another moment of silence, Yoda kind of like begins to speak. He says another unfortunate matter. He says is um the business in the outer rim of like a grim nature there is. He says, and he says, let's go to the council chamber to discuss it.
to the council chamber.
We're not
And
taking
then
the stairs, right? Because that's a long fucking climb.
no, I'm gonna say you're gonna get there in the speed of like a screen wipe,
Great.
Or wipe.
A star wipe.
a star wipe. Yep.
They do have an elevator up to that chamber.
Yes.
Walking that far, I am not.
Did you know that there is a
Sharp my legs, sir.
there's a there's a high security vault directly below the Jedi Council chambers?
Yeah, didn't Cad Bane break into it in Clone Wars?
No, he broke into one of the archives vaults in the archives, but there's
That's
a
right.
there's a high security vault for money, more or less, or valuable goods under the Jedi Temple. They've been known to act as like escrow, like if two planets or two like warring factions or something come to an agreement and there's money to be paid. Sometimes they'll, because the Jedi are neutral.
Above, neutral and above reproach.
Yeah, that they'll store it there until all the terms are on each side are satisfied and they pay it out.
Oh, interesting.
That's from the Jude Watson Jedi Apprentice series that I was in love with when I was in middle school.
Same. It was so good.
Yeah. Well, you should remember it then, because it was a big plot point in. It was one of the earlier ones. Qui-Gon's former apprentice Xanatos.
Yep, I remember him.
Yeah. Had a plot to break in to that vault and steal some money.
Then like I remember like Qui-Gon was in love with a woman named Talia, I think.
Tal, yeah, she was
Yeah,
the Jedi archivist before Jocasta knew.
Yeah. Yep. And then I
And
remember
then
like
she died, and he damn near went to the dark side. Like he
yep.
was like, they had to call Mace Windu to the planet that he was on because Obi-Wan was so afraid that Qui-Gon was going to go off the deep end and start killing everyone that they had to get Mace Windu, because they knew that like Mace Windu could beat him if he could put him down if he had to.
And then I remember like Obi-Wan had like a love interest, sort of like Siri Tachi, I think. Was
She
her
was,
name.
yeah, she was a fellow Padawan, but they never really, like, they didn't
Yeah,
fuck or anything.
yeah. I think like they kissed when she died, if I remember right. Like she crashed or something.
That would have been after the Jedi Apprentice series. And it's worth pointing out that Qui-Gon and Tal never fucked either. They just pledged their lives to one another. Like they never had
Yeah,
sex
but
or
I mean,
anything.
they probably did behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't know. She was blind. She was blinded in a during a mission that he was sent. He and Obi-Wan were sent to go rescue her, and that happened to be the mission where Obi-Wan decided to quit being a Jedi.
I remember that too. I remember like also like in like I think the third book, like Obi-Wan almost has like his mind erased. And then like he says like his brother Owen, and everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Like Owen Baru and like
Yeah,
Obi-Wan are brothers.
yeah, yeah. We should probably keep because
Yeah,
I
sorry.
could I could talk about this series. I don't know how I haven't read one of them in decades, but for some reason I have like every detail. It's just like when you read anything when you're that formative age, when you just
Mhm.
remember shit. It's that's when I was reading those books. So, like I remember every detail about them.
Yeah, sorry for kind of the
No, no,
derailment
no.
there.
That was totally my fault.
Uh, but yeah, so we're in the Jedi Council chamber, um, and Kronsak kind of starts, or Yoda says to
We're in the center of the room, right? Like the three of us
yes,
go
yep,
to the center of the room. Yeah.
yep, and then Yoda says to Kronsak, he says, since your apprentice, or since like your former Padawan, this is, uh, you should. He says maybe you should start. He says to Kronsak, um, and Kronsak looks at you, Drolba, and he says, he kind of like outlines the plan you had told about.
Of getting uh, basically a chapter of the Jedi out there in the Outer Rim to make sure like a war like this doesn't break out, and to
Right. Yeah.
and prevent the rise of something even worse after all of these crime lords and everything got their heads chopped off, and prevent wars throughout the entire Outer Rim as a result.
Yes, and then one of the Jedi kind of like speaks up, and he says like, but like, wouldn't that technically make us taking over control of those crime families? He says we're not, he says we're not gangsters though, you know.
Yeah,
No, I'd say we
this is something that you've been known to do. You've put Jedi temples in lots of far-reaching planets to keep order. Why would this be any different?
Yeah, what's one more military base?
yeah I'm not proposing we do any crime. I'm proposing we
Well, let's not take that off the table. But
oh jeez.
Yoda's ears perk up when you say that, Cal.
you understand my meaning, Masters. You put Jedi temples on different planets out in the middle of nowhere to help defend those who can't defend themselves. The fact that we don't have some kind of Jedi temple or a station on Tatooine or one of these planets in the Outer Rim is a little ridiculous. They're enslaving sentient beings.
And I think this is a good opportunity for the Jedi to get a presence in the Outer Rim, especially now when the entire sector is at risk of going to complete chaos. We can be a stabilizing force, one that's not seeking power for our own sake, but seeking power to save lives. To put our presence there, because
Sorry.
if we allow all these worlds to fall to war, we're letting it partially happen to our own inaction.
So the one Jedi woman you saw earlier with like the forearms, the one race, same race as Jester Jesters.
I'm
Um,
sorry, did you say the woman with the forearms?
Yeah, like the one she has like the
Okay.
4 different arms. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No. I don't know why that sounded so funny to me, but I thought you said the woman with the 4 arms, not like with 4 separate arms. The body, like how we have 4 arms.
Yeah, no, that's
And
what I did say.
I
Yeah.
was like, what was so special about her forearms? Again,
No,
did she have
she
tattoos or?
No, she just looks like Popeye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she got a really big muscly forearm.
She just really works her forearms out.
Yeah.
She has like she's eating spinach, has like a pipe in her mouth.
Even Drolba is like, how do you get that toned? Jesus. So
Yeah,
what did she
so-
say?
Oh, she's kind of like acknowledging what Drolba is saying. And she's like, she says like, yeah, she says, yeah, I agree with him. A stabilizing force, could be, is probably needed at this time. Um, and then the same Jedi from earlier, the same Jedi from earlier says, says like, but like he says like, but even if we are a stabilizing force, though, like, um, the power vacuum is just not gonna stop unless like we take power, though, right? Like, unless we, you know,
We would make it known to all of the forces there that they should be content with their own sort of areas, their own planets, their own matters, and not to overreach. Basically, we would be the stabilizing force stopping them from trying to seek more power. We would be a force that regular people could look at for help and assistance. I mean, it was only due to happenstance that the Jedi Temple, that a passing Jedi happened to save my own life when I was a young Huttling and bring me to the temple. Otherwise, I would have quite likely been just smushed where I was because I was an unwanted Huttling. Um, So, I mean, we could even have more outreach for potential Force users at the same time.
We don't have to take power in the way that you're saying. The only thing we have to say is that here in this area, if you enslave other sentient beings, a Jedi is coming after you. That's quite enough to keep it from happening as much as it's happening now.
another person kind of chimes in, like another Jedi chimes in. They are a Twi'lek, and she says, but like if we're coming after someone like in that way though, like we're not really peacekeepers anymore, right?
I would say that we make it clear, we lay down with all of these different forces and planets, because, some of the places on the Outer Rim, there are planets that govern themselves. There are, organizations that aren't necessarily slaver organizations or anything that, govern themselves and aren't necessarily bad. But there are bad players out there. We basically make sure that there is a guiding, like, baseline rule of law, and any organization that violates those baseline rules of law know that they would have us to contend with. They would know not to cross the line.
Call it
Right.
aggressive. Call it aggressive peacekeeping.
Again, Yoda's ears kind of perk up with that, by the way.
I wouldn't say be aggressive. I would say have have them all know that they could come to us equally with any sort of grievance, for them not to handle these matters on their own with violence, to let the Jedi have a chance of being the peacekeepers and deal makers that we were always born to be.
Also, I don't think we're proposing to establish even a government anywhere. I mean, we put a Jedi temple out there and we just do what we do while we're here. We teach Padawans, we meditate, except that we're closer if something happens. Like, it wouldn't be any different than what we're doing here. It's just that they would
So-
have a Jedi in their backyard. I mean, it would be hard for them to do. It'd be hard for them to do the things they're doing now with a Jedi in their backyard.
So the Jedi Council kind of like all look at each other, and Kronsock kind of says, He says they think it's best that like they break for deliberation on this matter before they come to like a consensus on it. And Yoda and some other like senior Jedi members agree. Um,
Oh, I don't know. It's been weeks since I mentioned it, so you might have forgotten. But Kronsock did send a message to. Well, no, he did send a message to Kronsock weeks ago about consideration for Droba to be elevated to knighthood.
aren't you already a knight?
No, he when he left, he was still a Padawan, though he was a very experienced Padawan, but still a Padawan.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So, Kronsock will also bring that up. He says that he feels like you've he says he feels like you've um shown enough of like initiative and like clear headedness. He kind of like stands up. He goes up to you and like he's kind of like senior enough in the Jedi Council. He doesn't really need permission to do this, if that makes sense. Do you have a braid or no?
No.
No. Okay.
It
But yeah,
just cuts your head off then.
he knights you right on the spot though.
Because you're going to have him cut the braid off, right? Like in the 2D Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bow deeply to Kronsock and thank him for everything that he's done for me.
And then he looks at you and he says, "So when you taking a Padawan of your own?" He says,
When it feels right,
Giggity.
when the chance offers itself and the right person needs me.
I will
Just like you
also
did-
I will
just
also
like you
add
did for me.
I'll also add that my Padawan not today, but soon will be ready to take the Jedi trials.
Also, Kronsock knows Genko
That's fine.
from the
I'll just stare at him.
history.
I'll just stare at him.
Kronsock is enough of a bro to not say anything. I
"Yeah,
feel like.
Kronsock's not a snitch."
Yeah,
He's not a Fed.
Though I imagine he would give the best like Wookiee, just like arched eyebrow.
Yeah, he does. He's
At this
like,
whole thing.
yeah. He probably thought like Genko looked familiar, and then like when he realizes it,
He's trying not to be racist. He's like, that looks like Genko, but I can't say like, what if it's not?
right?
Yeah, but then he got close enough and then just smelled him. It was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Genko.
Yeah. It's like something smells delicious and would like taste good deep fried.
Jesus. Well, I suppose we'll wait for your continued wisdom. I say with a hint of sarcasm.
Gotcha.
Another raised eyebrow by Yoda, I bet.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. With kind of what you said tonight, Kel, Yoda actually kind of looks at you, and he says, "So Kel says, I mean, Yoda says, while we deliberate a mission I have for the three of you," he says, but first, Kel, would you step into like
The whipping room?
yeah, no, he says, would you step into my private chambers, please? He says.
Oh.
All right, this is completely out of character, but ooh, called into the
He's in
principal's office.
trouble.
And then
Should
yeah,
I take my clothes off before I go in?
Oh my!
you say that.
No, I said that in character. That's absolutely something Kel would say.
So Kronsock just face palms.
Suggesting Yoda molests his Jedi.
It is.
I mean,
It is also worth saying. Kel has a history with the Jedi Council. This necessarily would not be surprising behavior to them.
I mean, Yoda is gone for months at a time. With no.
Well, not that. Just, I mean, making an irreverent joke is.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Yoda's used to it by now. He doesn't necessarily approve of it, but he kind of knows Like that's kind of like why they made you a way seeker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean there are many reasons. One of them is I annoyed a lot of the people in this room right now.
Yeah. But yeah. So do you follow Yoda and like
Yes.
his kind of like private shape? Okay.
They made you a getaway seeker.
But yeah. So yeah, you follow him into his private chamber, and then Genko and Robo, you're kind of still out in the council chamber.
And
Um,
I look at Genko and I say, "Be honest with me, Genko. How many times have you hit yourself with that training saber so far?"
I'm just going to like mumble in response because I recently just hit my mouth with the lightsaber and it's numb.
No, it's numb. My tongue is numb.
Never.
Never, not once, not one single time.
Genko just wanted to know what it tasted like.
right.
Taste the rainbow.
It's just this really pretty minty color.
But yeah.
Thank you for not doing that during the Jedi Council meeting, by the way, because I don't know how I would have explained that.
That's the only reason I was quiet.
He's a savant, god damn it.
This is my brilliant new Padawan. As he's doing it, he's just repeatedly trying to lift the fucking training saber.
Ouch.
Whoa.
Ouch.
Just hit myself in the skull and fall, crumple to the floor unconscious.
Well, Master Yoda, why are we in your chambers?
So Yoda, like he's kind of like sitting in like his like floating like chair.
Mm-hmm. I sit on the little circular meditation pad that he has, but I don't cross my legs.
Gotcha. So Yoda says, Yoda's essentially kind of saying like, like we know we give you a lot of freedom. He says, but he says like, as of late, it sounds like you've become kind of more like a bit more violent. If that,
Well, who said that?
Well, no, I mean just from like how you were kind of talking in there, Yoda's kind of maybe picking up on like maybe some of like the darker stuff you've done.
I think I'm all right.
Well, he asked us this. He essentially asked if there's anything you need to talk about or get off your chest or anything like that.
I'm good.
Well, okay. But yeah.
Why? Is there something that you're expecting me to get off my chest?
He says no. He says it just sounds like just from in there. It sounded like you were just kind of like more wanting call to action, wanting to like fight.
Well, I mean that's true. I mean, like we are talking about literal slavers. They're people suffering on the Jedi's watch. So yes, I would like a call to action, and I would like the Council, in its far more limited wisdom than many of them would think, to actually do something. I don't think that is a call from the dark side. I think it's just a call from common sense.
Yoda says he doesn't necessarily disagree with you, but he also kind of reminds you that like we're not soldiers. Like we don't just kind of storm in. He says
I wouldn't be a soldier if someone had asked me to anyway. Like that's not what this is about. The Force, I believe the Force has called me to this place, and I think we both know that regardless of the decision, that's where we're going. So wouldn't it be better, if you're so afraid of what I might do, wouldn't it be better to have a few Jedi out there with us?
Yeah, he essentially says, not wrong you are. He says, but he says he'll take that into consideration when him and the rest of the council kind of like try to reach a consensus. He says.
Well, that's good, because if you had decided to whoop my ass, you probably could, and I'm not sure what I would do if you had tried to stop me.
He says nothing to do. He says nothing. He says nothing to do. You could. He says.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of like gives a chuckle.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we both know you're. My gift to the Jedi has never been my lightsaber skills. It's been my intellect.
And then he looks at you and he says, "So, would you say Yoda knows about like your addiction or no?"
Yeah.
Okay. he looks at you and he says, addicted still you are. He says,
Yeah, but it's managed. I'm what you would call a functional addict.
he says, he says, he just kind of like acknowledges it, and then he says, he kind of like gestures back towards the door.
I give Yoda um, a slight bow that Kel would not give practically any other Jedi out of respect.
Gotcha. Also, Kel, just out of curiosity, I can't remember. I can't remember if you. I think maybe you did say in your backstory you had a master, but if you
Mm-hmm.
didn't, would you want Yoda to have been your master? Maybe like he was younger back then. That's maybe you picked up kind of like the. Maybe like had kind of an edge to him. Maybe that's who you kind of picked it up from too.
I mean, Kel learned from Yoda in the same respect that other younglings at the temple learned from him. But Kel's master was a famed treasure hunter for the Jedi.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he is long dead, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
so,
I'm sure they knew each other well. In fact, I'm sure that Yoda would have loved him. He's a lot more. It would have been someone that Kel might have picked up some of his roguish behavior from, but I think that Yoda probably would have wanted him to rub off on me because he was better at following rules than Kel is. So I'm sure that there's a part of Kel's master that he wishes would have rubbed off on him before he died.
I got you. I understand. But yeah. So I'm just trying to think. So yeah. So you and Yoda make your way back out into the council chambers. And Yoda says that
I walk over to Genko and nudge him with my elbow and whisper, "You're still a Padawan. They suspect nothing."
oh, I don't
I
think-
will wave to Master Yoda and say it's been good to see him again.
he says, "See you too. Good it is." He says. And then he says that he has an assignment for the three of you.
Okay.
Which
He
assignment
tells
is
you.
that?
So he tells you that on level 500, in kind of like the in level 500 of
The temple.
no of Lake Coruscant.
Oh, okay.
He tells you that they were expecting like a package, but they haven't heard from like the person that was supposed to deliver it, and they'd like the three of you to go check it out.
What is the package?
They say so. They say like they think it's some type of ancient technology.
Someone
Uh,
turning it over to the Order for safekeeping?
he says yes, and he says he would like the three of you to go on that mission. And he says and he looks at your Padawan. He looks at Genko and he says a finer mission, no doubt, to test your Padawan skills. He says.
Oh, he'd be fine. He can go by himself, really, if you wanted him to. But we should probably go with him.
Out of character, I'm surprised since we're in the temple, no one's just whipped out the midichlorian counter and be like, "Ooh, how talented is this new Padawan?"
Let me put it
I mean,
this way: Kel walking in the door with a rando as a Padawan, just to see if anyone will call him on it, would not be a huge surprise to anyone. So half of the people on the council right now are probably just rolling their eyes.
Last week he brought the pizza boy.
Giggity?
Remember that one time he painted himself red?
He didn't want to be blue anymore.
Oh yeah, he added horns to himself and also painted part of himself black.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Kel is known just to see what kind of bullshit he can get away with. So like this is, and I think they've kind of learned that if they just don't say anything, I get kind of bored with it after a while.
Gotcha.
I can imagine that. Just painting yourself red, wearing blue contacts, and calling yourself Lek.
Black.
Black.
Give yourself like a goatee. You're like the evil version.
Just pretend just pretend to be an entirely different Jedi and like make up an entire department that's never existed in the Jedi Order and just like masquerade for as long as I can.
I mean, do we want to say you did that when you were like a Padawan or something?
It's like I don't know, some rando name. It's like I'm the head of the child liberation department, setting Padawans free. And,
Setting Padawans.
yeah, and they're just like, oh, okay, all right. Please go out of this room now.
Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna transition over to
Meanwhile,
to the other party members.
Meanwhile, it's
Just
Space
'cause-
Chuck E. Cheese.
Just because like you guys haven't got to do much yet. So we we kind of like we do like another star wipe, and we see like the three of you at like at a cantina. It's like, I mean, it can be Space Chuck E. Cheese if you guys want.
Nah, the cantina is probably
No,
more,
alcohol definitely needs to be involved.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
It's
we'll
like-
Peanut cheese.
Space Dave and Buster's, don't they have alcohol?
That seems
Sure.
legit.
It's like
so.
it's like the Chuck E. Cheese for adults, right?
Sure.
Yeah, Space Dave and Buster's.
yeah. So we say it like it's actually called like Dave and Buster Jesters.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It's they're like the two uncles, or like the two great uncles of Dexter Jester. They kind of like own this like this restaurant. But yeah, so you see like two different like basilisks. One is cooking, one is kind of like manning like the bar out front. And they you probably like step in their Chance. And they see you and they're just like, "Hey, Chance, how you been?"
Wait, do I know these people?
Do you want to know him?
If anybody knows them, it would probably be me because I'm actually from Coruscant.
Okay.
Are
So-
you native to Coruscant?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with that. They know Brian.
Yeah, sounds good. They look at you. They see you, Briar, and they're Briar, how you been? Haven't seen you in a while. And like you see one of the you see like one of the cook, probably like, actually I'm gonna say it's called Bob and Buster's, and you see like the you see up from like the kitchen window, you see like a basilisk looks exactly like Bob from Bob's Burgers. Has like the iconic mustache and everything. Pops up and he says, good old Briar." He
Yes.
comes out from like behind the kitchen.
I'll introduce my friends and get something to drink.
So because they haven't seen you in a while, they're gonna like give you like something that's on the house. They're gonna give you like a treason ale. No, sorry, Teresa ale. That's it.
Yeah.
And then did you also bring? Would you say the 30 Mon Calamari came with you? Or would you say they're back on the ship?
Or they definitely came with us.
I think that maybe they should have stayed on the ship since they're well known and wanted individuals.
I mean, we're having a party and it's Coruscant. Like, there's tons of people around here. Besides, this is the rundown part of town. Criminals are all over the place, I assume.
Exactly.
Yeah, groups of 30 are super inconspicuous.
Look, we'll just rent out the party room. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, the party room is just like a big like play area, like McDonald's.
Exactly. See?
Okay,
30
yeah.
armed to the gill Moncal terrorists. Nothing to see.
A bunch of them like light machine guns, or like light, I don't know how, like light machine blasters. I don't know what they
Light
would be.
repeaters.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Um, But yeah, so they look at you like they both kind of look at you, Brian, and like the Bob's Burger looking one says, "Ah, who are your new friends?"
Oh, just the new crew I've been working with. You know,
Ah, gotcha. They say that.
I
Also, who's
I and this
sorry?
is our pilot Chance.
He says, ah, good to.
Hello.
He says, good to meet
Yeah.
you. He says,
Since yes, a group I've been running with since Varlo died.
oh, gotcha. Yeah, it was always a shame when that happened. And then like the one that doesn't look like Bob, but so it was Bob and
Buster.
Dexter?
yeah,
Buster?
yeah,
Buster.
Buster. That's it. So Buster kind of like says like, any friend of Brian's is a friend of ours, and like so it seems like so he kind of like brings out like his hand to shake your hand, Chance.
I will absolutely shake this man's hand.
Okay, and then like so it's kind of like a feint. He's actually drawing you like just like a big bear hug,
Oh god.
and like yeah, he just gives you like just like a big bear hug.
With forearms.
Yep, kind of like lift you up into the air a little bit, put you back down.
Watch the ribs, please.
He says ribs. Actually, he says that's what our house specially says. It says like aclay ribs.
Hey, sounds good to me.
He says, yeah, you know what?
Did you say did you say aclay ribs?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. They're a crustacean.
Oh.
So it'd be like aclay legs. Anyway,
Okay.
they can have ribs. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So aclay ribs. He says, and he says smothered in a. He says smothered in a hot seas barbecue sauce. He says.
Oof. Sounds fucking good.
Well, shit. How
Sounds
can I say
great.
no to that?
He says, but yeah, Bob says he'll start getting them cooked up right away. He says. There are a couple other people in this diner too, by the way. Um, you see like about four people kind of like sitting at like a table kind of like in the back. And so the Stefficiany and the other Mon Calamari kind of go into like the party area that you've kind of rented out. And then Chance and April. What are Chance and Bria doing?
I'm trying to get a drink and just kind of keeping an eye on the place and make sure nothing happens while we kick back and wait to hear back from the others.
Okay.
Brian strikes me as like kind of character that would sit in the corner of the room so she can see the whole she can see the whole room.
Absolutely.
Like no one can get behind her.
Chance is probably gonna try to keep an eye on the Moncals and make sure they don't start anything.
Okay. And then Bria, roll me a perception check, please.
2.
Yes, two purple. Okay. So three
See,
successes and one.
that's why you sit in the corner of the room where you can see everything.
Okay.
Should be 2 out. Why I have an extra dice in there? That's weird. Oh, I had extra dice in there, so this should just be. So I have 2 extra success. So it's 1 success and I advantage.
Okay.
I had extra
Gotcha.
dice on there.
Okay. So I'm gonna say. So I did an opposed roll. So unfortunately they did out succeed you, so you do not see this. Um, Chance. So you're at the bar. You're kind of keeping an eye on them, right?
Yeah.
And then Brian, kind of like probably maybe like while like you're scanning the area, maybe like while your head is turned, scanning like a different part of the bar. Um, Chance, you feel something kind of like stick into your back. Like it's not penetrating into your back, but like you feel kind of like something like in your back. Um, and you hear like a voice from behind you, like there. So and they say, hey, long time no see, friend. He says, you got our boss's money?
Okay, is this someone that I know?
Yeah, it's someone who works for the person you owe that debt to.
Okay.
Backstory stuff, huh?
Say,
Yeah.
hey, Kindo, great. I was just coming to see the boss. I wanted to talk to him. Told him that like I'm getting it worked out. I've got installments planned out. Like it's all gonna work out. It's gonna be great.
He says, "Oh, that's good. That's good. So how would you?" He says, You know what you can do." He says, "We can go see the boss right now. We can let him know."
What's the hurry? Like, I got some accolade ribs coming. Why don't you just sit down, have a drink with me? We'll split the ribs and talk about old times.
He says, "Why don't we get the ribs to go instead?"
I, it's just never quite as good once you like the atmosphere of this place just gives them a flavor all their own, you know?
Who gets ribs to go?
So again, he's gonna kind of like point like the blaster, yeah, and he says, he says, essentially he's saying, to get up and walk, or else, essentially he's threatening you.
It wasn't a suggestion.
All right, let's just drop the crap here, shall we? You're not going to kill me because dead men can't pay debts. So at best you're going to stun me. Like, is that really a chance you want to take? Like, I have a bunch of friends here, most of whom are pretty heavily armed, who are relying on my expertise to get them where they need to go. Like,
Technically speaking, you are exactly the chance that they want to take.
ha ha ha. The point is, like, if you pull that trigger, a lot of things are going to happen, and very few of them are going to go well for you.
So he kind of pulls out like a bounty puck, and it actually shows so it shows that it shows that like kind of like your bounty. It shows like your kind of like your facial profile, and it says like wanted for like uh you know wanted for like unpaid debts, and it says like so the bounty on your head is for like 250,000 credits.
Ooh, I see.
I don't know how he managed to put that bounty out there. Like, that's more than my debt's even worth. Like, Jafaro the Hutt just very clearly has some very deep pockets and must not like me very much, which is so weird because I was absolutely planning on paying him back. Like, I just needed, another job or two to get the money.
Did you say Jafaro the Hutt?
I'm making it up as I go along here, Daniel.
Like Jafar? Like Jafar from Aladdin?
It's just the first name that popped into my head.
I like it. It's really good.
I need it to be like Jafar from Aladdin because that would look pretty funny.
Like it's just like a hut with like a cane and like a.
I wonder, can I get
goatee.
Midjourney to do if Jabba the Hutt and Jafar had a kid?
Probably.
their bastard love child. I mean, actually, like huts like asexually reproduce, right?
Well, they can either they can sexually
They're
reproduce.
hermaphrodimorphs.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
they could sexually reproduce with each other, or they can impregnate themselves.
Literally go with themselves.
Their tails fall off and turn into another hut.
Well, yeah, they can literally decide when they want to be considered male or female, depending upon their wishes.
They're like the in the Jurassic Park novel, the toads, the African toads. They can change their sex.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way.
life finds a way.
Yeah, secretly this whole time, Grolva has been pregnant.
So you said his name was Kaindo, right?
Kindo, yes.
Kaindo. Kaindo says again he looks at you, and he says, if it's not me, it's just gonna be another bounty hunter. He says, so why don't we make this easy? Yeah.
I mean, it could be extremely easy. You could just walk out of here and pretend you never saw me.
He says, "Yeah, but if I walk out of here though, then I'm in deep shit with the boss."
How are you going to be in deep shit? No one here is going to tell Jafaro that you were anywhere near this establishment.
He says, "Yeah." He says, "Actually, roll me a persuasion check,
I don't think I'm very good at persuasion, but I will do my dangest.
or maybe coercion then instead. It's up to you which one you want to go with.
2 purple?
Yes, two purple. And then maybe a black because you have like a blast. No, it seems kind of.
Is persuasion even a thing?
Totally no.
I think it's coercion, right?
Yeah.
All right, coercion it is.
And he spelled
Been
Jafar.
working him over real good.
Probably negotiation, maybe. But
I will do it if you want, but the coercion roll is out there.
I'll let you decide which one you like better.
Already made it.
Yeah. That's
And
a
then
success and an advantage.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do an opposed roll. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. You do pass. So yeah, he kind of like looks over, sees Brya, and then he also sees like probably like the 30 calamar like Mon calamar you came in with, and he says, "You know what?" He says, "You know what? Yeah, you're right." He says, "We'll get out of here." He says, "But maybe we'll be seeing you around."
Best decision you've made all day, kinda. See you around, buddy.
But yeah, so him and the rest of his the rest of like the gang kind of take off.
Chance heaves a sigh of
Mm.
relief. Like, once they're out of sight.
I gotcha. But yeah, so probably after all that business, the ring like the ribs come out. It's just like a big platter of ribs for like 60 of them, enough for like two for everyone.
Buster, you're a wonderful human being.
He says, "I know." He says also, "I'm not human."
That's the joke.
Yeah, you get that Buster's probably not like the humorous one. He's probably more literal, maybe.
Well, that's fine.
He's like Drax. He doesn't get sarcasm.
Then he looks over and he says, "Anyway, who's paying for all this?" He says.
I would never leave you hanging, I say, and I pull out my wallet.
He says that'll be 60 credits. He says.
Done.
Yeah, so you give him 60 credits.
Is it 60 credits for one rack of ribs?
Just for the entire thing. He's
I think
kind of
there were like 60 ribs on the rack.
yeah. He's doing it. He's like kind of like since. Like,
Are you
since,
feeding everybody? Are you buying everybody ribs?
I mean, I guess.
Like Stefani's
I can't
entourage?
eat 60 all by myself.
Well, not with that attitude.
Fishing he could.
If she's anything
This
like
is
Genko.
true. Stefani has the genetics.
the
Adopted daughter.
but yeah, so the Mon calamari kind of like all smell food. They all kind of like pile in. So like this is like also like this is kind of like a small like, I mean not but like how like big Dexter Jester's place was like 30's probably like very packed by the way. So like and they're all kind of like around like the bar area. So you're now like all just kind of like so like you're probably just like in a sea of Mon calamari right now, Chance and Brya.
It's all good.
Just remember, guys, low profile. Given that you are kind of wanted.
Yeah, one of them says right, and like they're all kind of like demolishing these ribs and everything. And then I mean, if anyone wants to do anything, we can, or else we can end it here, maybe.
Oh yeah, it's
No, just kind of waiting on them to finish at the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
Well, they're sending us on a mission.
Well, I assumed you were gonna come get us and we were gonna help.
Oh yeah, I guess we probably should do that.
I mean,
Well, how about
you
we
can also do it without us if you want.
how do we rendezvous in the next 5 minutes?
You give me a call and I'll tear the Mon
right.
Calamaris away from their ribs and we'll come pick you up.
Yeah, I'll get you on the comm and say pack the Moncals in the ship and come pick us up. We've got a job.
Right home from the mall.
We've got a gig. Yeah, can you pick me up? I'm out of money.
Sounds good. I had a nice light lunch. I think Bria's about 3 drinks in. We'll come pick you up.
Yeah. So you all kind of like pile back into the ship. Genko, Stefushin brought you a couple of ribs.
Eat them like a Jedi. At least until we're away from the temple.
The mention of that, I take out my training lightsaber and I try to cut up the ribs with the lightsaber. And I look at Kel like this.
Are we still on the landing pad or are we in the ship?
Assuming when
You're
you
in
the
the ship.
bellies on the ship.
Okay.
What you need to do is you need to borrow his lightsaber and use them like chopsticks.
Yeah, here you go.
That seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
That's why I suggested it.
All right, so
This is when Genko needed to get his robot arm.
that'd be pretty
Chop.
neat.
Mm-hmm.
You would look good with a robot arm. Or don't you already have one?
No.
Yeah, a couple sessions ago, I proposed giving Stefishini a robot arm and cutting off her hand to use as proof that we killed her. But
Yeah, I really thought that you had a robot arm or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, I'll tell Chance and Brian about the mission we've been sent on, and I'll give the coordinates to Chance, and that's where we'll leave it for the evening.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say probably like you probably know that like you probably can't take a ship down there normally. You probably have to use an elevator.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just find the nearest landing pad and then
Or a
take the
taxi.
elevator
We'll
down.
have to take if it's Coruscant, we'll take a taxi. A taxi
That
speeder.
works too.
Yeah. Like in Lego
Do you-
Star Wars.
Do you want the Mon Calamari to go with you? Or you want them to stay on the ship?
They can stay on the ship. That's
I think
Yeah.
25 to 30 Moncals just like following us around is going to cramp our style a little bit.
Oh, just like tourists or something.
Yeah.
I think we will leave them on the ship, but I will definitely be taking the keys to the ship with me.
Okay, sounds good.
Just lock
you
him
know,
in the cargo bay.
Daniel, when you were saying to Genko earlier, like if he had a robot arm, I thought you were gonna follow it up with. I was like, "Do you have a robot arm?" No, it's like, "Do you want one?" And just like he's cut his arm off.
Don't worry, this will make you more badass. As Genko just
It's like
screamed.
I do it like I would do it and then like suddenly realize we don't just have a robotic arm on us. So like I've just cut a man's arm off and I guess like we'll have to find someone who does
No
robotic.
fix.
Yeah. It's like I did my part. You have to go get the arm.
Genko keeps screaming, so you start to force choke him to stop him from screaming. Stop screaming!
Stop
I
crying.
would
It only hurt a little bit.
I feel like Kel really likes Genko because he amuses him.
Right.
I don't think he would do that. Okay,
No, I
so
understand.
looking forward, we'll have probably random. One of these nights before Wednesday will be a break from from video games maybe. But on Wednesday, at 6 o'clock Central, Chris and I will be doing the Jedi Enclave presents the Now This Is Podcasting podcast.
Nice.
And we're talking about the Star Wars Tales of the Empire trailer, and or is it Tales from the Empire?
Tales of the Empire.
Yeah. And then we absolutely will be talking about the story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws.
Don't forget Bad Batch. That's
Yep.
still happening.
Yep, Bad Batch episode 12, I think. And I think
That
this
sounds right.
this week we're gonna do kind of since it's over now, I think we're gonna do kind of a drive-by shooting version of Invincible. We just get it done all in one thing. Not like a recap or anything, just just generally what happened and what we thought of it. Because
a whole lot of podcasts.
Yeah, because that was the season finale last week, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we'll probably talk about that, and then depending on how many High Republic books I can read between now and Wednesday, which might only be one this week, I might talk about that too. But only way you'll know is if you show up. Then we record those live, and there will be a post on our social media on Wednesday for you to weigh in on your thoughts for the new Bad Batch episode, and we will read those live during the podcast. Afterwards, we'll either be doing Battlefront or some other Star Wars game, and then Battlefronts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well. So if you're still here, you're still supporting our tabletop venture. We appreciate it, and we will see you again with some